do you get them to wear masks? How do you get them to understand without so terrifying them that they're afraid to do everything? And I think that's partly us as parents setting an example, but also partly making a positive spin on all this. This is something that we don't have to be afraid of. This is something we can deal with, but this is how we have to deal with it.
I do want to get to the conversation about vaccines, but you bring up an important point here around resilience. And as we listen to the ministers across the country trot out the plans for the educational return, what this also requires is a level of responsibility for all of us to make sure that we are taking responsibility for our own health. And I would think that more than ever, Mitch, we have highlighted that, and that has been emphasized and scrutinized more in the last 5 months, perhaps, than in our own history.
Oh, without question. But it shows you, many people are afraid of doing that, huh? Many people refuse. When you look at the people who are refusing to wear masks, some say it's liberty, some say it's you can't force me to do anything, some say they're harmful, which of course they're not. But at the basis of all this, it's a refusal to take a responsibility for your actions having an effect on other people. And when you think about it, deep down, every time someone refuses to wear a mask, what they're really saying is, I don't care about you. I care about me only. And it's a very interesting take and look at a lot of these people who are refusing to wear masks. They can claim it's liberty. They can claim it's feeling uncomfortable wearing a mask. But at the end of the day, what they're really saying is, I'm more important than you are. And that's not something that our society needs to hear, and that's not Canadian. I will tell you, deep down, one of the things that I'm proud about is the fact that by and large, as Canadians, we look out for each other. And I think that's one of the things I'm most proud about in the positive side of how we've responded to this virus and its effects on our population, our economy, our communities. Canadians band together, by and large, when they're faced with adversity, and I'm very proud of that.
A lot of conversation and news bubbling around the vaccine developments, and there are something like, I guess the last count I saw, nearly 180 or something different projects underway around the world. There are more than 20 that are into human testing, and all at various stages. And what's important to notice is they're not all the same. They're not all using the same approach to the vaccine, that in some cases, most of them have never been used or approved for humans. So what we're going to get out of a vaccine, and I expect we'll get more than one, is, again, this whole new burgeoning science around the research around the vaccines. It's very promising, but particularly when we hear about cases where they're beginning to use the challenge tests in chimpanzees, where they're giving them the vaccine, then they expose them to COVID-19. In many cases, we're beginning to hear the results are pretty positive. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to translate well to you and me, but we're on the right track here.
No question. So the Moderna vaccine that people may have heard us talk about is a company out of Massachusetts that uses a novel form of technology. So rather than the actual virus or a part of it being injected into someone, they're injecting into us a small bit of messenger RNA surrounded in fat, teaching the body how to make something that's part of the virus so that the body makes it, it pops it into our circulation, and then our immune system attacks it. Well, they're in the final stages. These are phase 3 studies. 30,000 people will be given this vaccine. But what they've done before they've given it to people, just very recently, is given it to some monkeys. And what they found is if they've given it to the monkeys and then deliberately infected the monkeys with the coronavirus-causing vaccine or COVID-19 causing virus, they have found that the monkeys didn't get as sick and were able to clear the virus much quicker. Now, the monkeys don't usually get very sick from this virus in the first place. That's good. But what they were able to show is that the vaccine not just worked, didn't just boost their immune system, didn't just give them very, very protective levels of high levels of protection, but actually worked in terms of clearing the virus. And so they now injected into these 30,000 people, see how they respond, but they now have a model. What's really important with the testing that's happened right now is by putting it in the monkeys, showing that it works in the monkeys this way, that if it works in people, other companies may be able to avoid needing 30, 40, 50,000 people. They may be able to do much smaller phase 3 studies and show that they work because they had done the same type of thing that just was shown to work with the monkeys. So if this works, if this phase 3 trial works, and the data from the monkeys has been as good as it is, the other companies could use this monkey-type study to lessen the number of people that they would have to put in phase 3 research and therefore get the vaccine to us that much faster. So there's a lot, as you said, of very intriguing work being done, and this is just one aspect of it.
Well, we'll watch it all with interest, and it's almost hard to keep up because the details are coming out like a water out of a fire hose. So
That's why we're here, you and me.
And it's all going to crescendo, I think, around November when we start to see some violent results. Mitch, it's always good to have you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Have a good one. Bye-bye.